and that is a balanced life. You know, here's the thing. To me, this is without a doubt the most important chapter, about balanced life being a myth. And it can be a little bit hard to understand. But we've all been raised, nurtured, told, whatever you want to insert here, that life is about having a good life is about having a balanced life, or having a fulfilling life is about having a balanced life. And here's what I'd like to challenge you guys with, is that anyone that tries to maintain a balanced life ends up exhausted, overwhelmed, and with feelings of guilt that they just can't make it happen. And then many people give up on their dreams. It's a dream killer. Trying to live a balanced life is a dream killer, not only for your personal dreams and goals, but for your professional dreams and goals. I'd like for you to go to, what page was I gonna, oh yeah, here we go. I would like for you guys to go to page 75. I'm going to read something for you really quickly. If you think of balance, and this is on page 75, chapter 8 in The One Thing. If you think of if you think of balance as the middle, so if balance is the middle, then out of balance is when you're getting away from the middle. Get too far away from the middle and you're living in the extremes. So if you get too far away on work, you're living in an extreme for work, or too far away in personal life, you're getting into an extreme in personal life. The problem with living in the middle, listen to this, is that it prevents you from making extraordinary time commitments to anything. The problem with living in the middle is that it prevents you from making extraordinary time commitments to anything. Because if you're always trying to be balanced, then you're always sitting in the middle, right? So if you give too much of a time commitment to personal, then work or your career suffers. If you give too much time to work or your career, then your personal life suffers, or your physical life suffers, your physical health. In an effort to attend all things, here's the important part. In your effort to attend to all things, keep all the balls in the air, everything gets shortchanged and nothing gets its due. Nothing gets its due. So the question would be, is that if balance is a lie, if balance is a myth, then how do we achieve this stasis where we feel that we are giving enough to business and giving enough to personal, right? And the reality is what Gary tells us in this chapter is that, and if you go to page 76, 77, if you have the book, this is where the graphs are important. If you think of a straight line, this is your balance. This is your work life in the middle. And we live work and life sitting right here. This is where we shortchange things because we can only touch it and we can never go deep with it, right? So what that would look like is that would look like getting things, checking off a to-do list at work and then coming home and trying to cook and do laundry and spend time with the kids and trying to play with the kids and trying to do this and trying to do this. And you're trying to do everything and you're rushing around and you're getting nothing done and you're not really focusing on the most important things. But if you think of this as your work-life balance and you keep your personal here close to balance in the middle, but you live your work life in extremes on either side, then you can achieve a counterbalance where the most important things get done at work in your career and you have consistency in your personal life with your health, with your family. So here's what this looks like. Yesterday, I gave you guys the example of Jack Nicklaus. And you remember what I said? I said, okay, Jack Nicklaus probably plays a lot of golf. To be, to win 18 majors and to be the #1 golfer ever in the history of golf, he probably had to practice a lot. He probably had to play a lot. He probably had to travel a lot. He spent a lot of his life in the career extremes. Raise your hand if you agree. He spent a lot of time in the career. Here's work-life balance. But he spent a lot of time over here and a lot of time over here and a lot of time over here. But remember, I said that no matter what tournament he was in, even if it was a major, with the exception of the ones that were in Europe, but in the United States, even if it was a major, he would fly home at night on a private plane or a commercial plane before he started making a lot of money. And he would fly home to be there for a football tournament, a baseball game, his daughters who were cheerleaders. He would be there for those important events. Nothing would keep him away from that. He also had a workout regimen because he found that his golf, Matt Steves, was suffering because he was overweight. As he got older, he couldn't do the things he used to be able to do. And so he dropped to 180 pounds and made physical fitness a part of his life. So here's work-life balance. He lived here with his family. He had important things that he focused on that he was a part of. He worked out every day, but he lived his life, his business in the extremes, which meant that if people were to call him to do how when you're in sports, they call you to do these events where you show up so they can get other people there, and they call you to go to sponsor events, and they call you to do all of these different things. He said no to all that stuff. What did he say yes to? He said yes to practice in his golf game, and he said yes to playing.
I pronounced that practice game.
Oh,
but I'm always
Siri's talking to me. And he worked at practicing his golf game, and he worked at playing his golf game. And he said no to all the other things that people were pulling him. Jack, let's do this. Jack, let's do that. Jack, will you come do a sponsorship gig for this club? Will you come do this? Will you come do this? And he said no. So how does that translate to your business? Somebody tell me. Joanne.
Well, it goes back to what's the first thing that we do at the beginning of the year is we schedule our vacation and our time off. And I would say that, each week you have to look and schedule your family time and your events first.
Absolutely. So, Joanne, when we sit down and do your business plan at the beginning of the year, why do we schedule vacations first before we even talk about your business, how much you want to sell next year, how much you want to make? Why do we put your vacations in play on the calendar for the whole year, even if you don't know where you're going?
Well, because myself, I won't take vacation if I don't put it on there. That's the first thing. And also, that's the most important. That's my one. It's probably everybody's one thing, or it should be.
Probably everybody's one thing. So is it, could I say that you work between vacations?
Yes, I like that. You said that the other day. I like that.
You work between vacations. So here's work-life balance. Joanne, do you get up every morning and walk?
Mostly.
When it's not -8 outside?
It's raining today too, so I didn't do it today. Yeah. But yes, in theory, yes.
Well, yes, in theory, yes.
95% of the time.
95% of the time, you get up every morning, you walk for 30 minutes. There you go. There's that tight line. Mm. Do you make appointments with people to go spend time with them in the evening for dinners and different things like that?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, here's the tight line, right? Here's the balance. Now, you get out in the extremes by doing what in your business?
For me, mostly it's focusing way too much on work and getting off schedule, and then I have to readjust and reschedule, and then I don't have time for my health and my family and everything else. So
when you get out into the extremes, if you so so let me go back here. Joanne said if she gets out into the extreme, she doesn't follow her schedule. But really what Joanne is saying, if we think about this book is that if she doesn't give extreme attention to her lead gen and say no to everything else, then she gets out of schedule, right? But when she says yes to shenanigans, I like to call them shenanigans, which means interruptions, then she gets out of the extreme focus on what is the most important, and she starts trying to attend to everything, and then nothing gets accomplished.
Well, yesterday was a good example, Becky, when you text me and you said, how'd your lead gen go from a 1 to 10 or something to that extent? And then I said, it's, you know, about a 6. And well, what got you off track? Well, if you did not ask me that, and you asked me that like today or the end of the day, I probably wouldn't have even known, because I'm so used to the habit. It was a work, like kind of an important work thing, but it certainly could have waited. And I didn't even realize I was doing that. So I got off schedule, or I would do something like I would do my circle dial and then I would go past the hour and keep going. And then I'm behind the schedule.
Yeah. So when you thank you, Joanne. So when you focus, when you give 1 or 2 things in your business, extreme focus, and you say no to everything else in your business, then you get to do those things in your life and in your personal life that are important. Here's what happens though. And then Matt, I want to let you go because you raised your hand. Here's what happens though, is that we do exactly what Joanne did yesterday. We start out with the intentions of going extreme on our lead gen and only giving our lead generation that focus. And then we allow something to pull us off track. Something that we think is important, but is not really important. And so what happens is then our schedule gets pushed down, and before you know it, if you want to get your lead generation done that day, or if you want to get the really important things done that day, you're having to do it at night when you should be spending time with family, friends, physical fitness, those different things. This is what Gary's talking about, is that you say no to the non-important to-do list and you say yes to the success list. And it's hard. It's hard because we think we have to do everything, but that's just a line that's been fed to us for so many years. Because what happens if we just, on that to-do list, what happens if there are things that we just don't do? Or if we can't do them ourselves, we ask someone else to help us do it and we pay them $50. We pay them $150. Matt, love to hear from you.
Good morning again. Hey, you know, I had an aha as you were talking, and I think all of us may feel that way. I think first off, the word balanced life, that automatically makes us think that everything must be balanced in the time that we do it, balanced and I think that is a misnomer, just the statement balanced, because really I think what we're trying to say when we're saying my life isn't balanced and I feel out of balance is that we're not giving the priorities to the few things that we want to do, whether that's personal, exercise, family, all of that. And we're saying no, or we're not making time for that in there. And we're doing other things instead. So I think actually what it means instead of balanced is the key things I want personally to feel that I've done for the day. If it's my family time, if it's my exercise time, if it's my whatever spiritual time, I need to do those in order to feel that I am balanced, because I'm feeling imbalanced because I'm not doing the things that are important to me, and I'm doing other things that are starving that. So my thing would be is, what are the 2 or 3 things a day that would make you feel whole and balanced, and doing those and making sure you touch those points each day. And then the other stuff, when you do the work, doesn't make you feel out of balance because you've already done the key things that push your buttons, that make you feel whole.
Yeah.
So I think the whole balance thing is inaccurate, because we just really want to do the things that make us feel whole every day.
Right.
When we don't, we feel out of balance.
Yeah. So that can also mean start with that's why the miracle morning is so important. You know, one of the most, and it's 9 o'clock. We're going to jump off right now. But one of the most successful people that I know, he's up at 5 a.m. He does this. He's very rigid on his morning. 5 a.m. He does his reading at 5:30, goes, works out, takes a shower. By 6:30, he gets his kids out of bed and he spends the time with the kids and he takes them to school and then he starts his day. He's fulfilled by 9 a.m. personally, right? That's why it's so important to get going early. Okay, guys, it's 9 o'clock. We are off tomorrow. We are back on Monday. Monday, we are going to take a little bit of a break from the one thing, and we're going to talk about strategies to get business. We're going to talk about strategies to get business. Okay. We're going to talk about strategies more specifically to get listings. And so if you know of anyone who is struggling in this area or who could use some strategies and tactics to help them get more listings, give them the link to this and invite them in. Do that for someone that you're grateful for, that you have gratitude to, and ask them to join you on Monday morning. We're going to do that for about 30 minutes. I love all of y'all. And then we will jump back into the one thing. Love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. And I will see you on Monday. Bye-bye.